Okay, and here we go. Right after picking right up from the last video, I want to cover how to make the cars appear on the road. What is the system that we want to use and how does it all work? So for this, we will create another node. And this node won't actually appear in the game. It won't be a car, but it will be the manager of all the cars. So it will just handle the logic of when the cars are created and now how often they are created and so on. So I'll call this car manager. I don't really care about the position, and I will just use this node to hold a script. It will be the CarManager script, and this will be the place where we create our cars and basically orchestrate them, or even set them up. So for this, we actually need to make our car into a separate scene. At the moment, it is just a node here, and we only have one scene in our project. It's the main scene. But we can make the car a separate scene as well by going here and then clicking on Save Branch as Scene. So I will save this under Scenes. And now, as you can see, the children have been hidden, and this little, I don't know, clapper icon appears. And if I click here, then we see the car as a separate scene. So all the children that it had are now here part of the scene tree. Now I can just make one adjustment. I'll go and set the position to 0, 0 so that we are basically so that we always start at the beginning, at the 0th position of the car. And now in my main, I want to delete this car because I don't need this at the moment. I will be creating this in the CarManager. And I'll go here and I will set up a reference to the car scene so that we can create it in code instead of using the editor. So if I hold Control and drag the car into this editor window, then it automatically creates a variable for me, and the variable is called car as per the scene name, and this has this little preload function. So if I click here, then as we can see, this loads the resource when the script is being parsed. So basically this makes it ready for the editor to create or to instantiate at any given time that we need it to. So if we go back to CarManager and let's say I pick a random spot, like let's see, I'll just use this car to understand what this position is. So this is X. I'll just copy this value. We'll need this in a second. And the Y is so now we have a position, and I want to use my CarManager to spawn or instantiate a car at that position. So let's do it. We need to create a list of cars called cars. This will be an array, which is like a list. And in my ready function, I will create a new car. And I will call this a car instance. An instance is like a copy of something in programming terms. And this will be car instantiate. So now the car has been created. The car instance global position will be a vector 2, let's say global position of x equals x. and the same will be true for y. And I will also make the new car instance a child of the CarManager. So I will say add child car instance. And finally, I will put this in cars as well. So cars.push, pushback. I think it's called append as well. I can do append. Yes, append and car instance. So this just adds it on to the list of cars here. So now if we have done everything correctly, a car should appear roughly here and then move towards the player like it did before. So I'll hit play. And it does. So that's great. So now what we can do is add a timer. I'll put this timer under the CarManager. I will drag the timer to the script while holding Control to create a variable for a timer. And I will put all of this into a separate function. This will be called create car. And now I can do a timer dot, we can set the auto start to be true here. So auto start is true, one shot is false, wait time is, let's say, 3 seconds. And we can say timer dot, I'll check the node for the signal, so it's called timeout. So timer dot timeout dot connect. And actually what I want to do is to create a car every time the timeout happens. So I'll just do create car here, and this should work. So now we have a timer, and every time this timer runs out, it will be started again. And also it will create a car. So let's see. Nothing happens. Okay, because we need to wait 3 seconds. So that's car number 1, car number 2, car number 3, car number 4. So that's quite good. One problem though is that if we keep going, so I'll just let the game run here for a while and go to remote and look under CarManager. So here we can see these are the car scenes that we have, and this will just keep on growing. It actually might not be a problem for a while, but it would still be good if we basically destroyed those car scenes at some point. So what we can do is we can go into the create car function and we can do a for loop. So for a car, I'll just call it C in cars. So now we can look at every car in the cars list. And if the car's global position X is less than, let's say, -100, then we can do car.queue_free, which basically will destroy the car, destroy the game object, so that we don't have to keep track of it anymore. So now if I hit play, we have a car. I go to remote, and this car should be destroyed at some point. So now it's destroyed. Oh, okay, so we have an error. Oh, okay, so the error is that this car has been freed, but it is still in the cars list. I wonder how we can think about how we can get rid of that. Okay, so I had a little look around on the internet, and I found this is instant valid function, which should tell us if something has been freed or not. So in the CarManager, what I can do is cars equals cars.filter, and this takes a function car, and is instance valid car. Let's see what happens now. Car set filter, method callable, so remove one func number. So just copy this, just should work. But I'm mistyping something, I think. So let's see here. Filter is a method that exists on lists like this, and it can remove certain elements of the lists. So basically, if the function here returns true, then it will be kept in the list, and if it returns false, then it will be removed from the list. So I think, okay, so the fact that I had that filter there alone was causing issues. So let's see, create a car. Actually might be good if we separate this, and we can do func maybe delete, or we can call it delete old cars. So this should do it. So this takes the cars list and sets it to the cars list, but only if the car is a valid instance as it kept in the list. And now we're looking at the new list, and if it's basically to the left by 100 units, then we can free it, because the player can't see it anymore. And now I think we need to create a proper timeout function. So on timeout, and here we just call both. We do create car, and we delete old cars. So I'll go here, and this will be on timeout. So let's see. And we don't call it, we just give it the name. So we'll play. Wait a few seconds. So we have a car now. And if I go over to remote, then we can see that the cars are being removed. So we have at 4 here. And yeah, so that's good. So we always have at most 2 cars. So that's quite good. But we still need to spawn the cars at some place where the player can see them immediately. Otherwise, it looks a bit strange. So I will create another node. I think it's called marker2D. So this is just a node 2D. It doesn't have any special properties except for these little lines here. So it's a bit easier to see in the editor. So I will put this somewhere that the player cannot see, like here. And I will, what shall I do? I will go to the CarManager. I will drag this using Control. And instead of giving it an X and Y, I will give it I will take the position from the marker 2D. So X equals marker 2D.X dot global position dot X, and this will be marker 2D dot global position dot Y. And I think I'll go to the car. So I'll open up the car scene. Here I am in the car scene now. Click on the script, and that will make the speed a bit faster. So let's say 600. Let's see if this is good. So now and I think in the CarManager, I want to create a car immediately as well and not wait for the timer to run out once. So at the beginning, I'll call create car right away. So I'll play, and now the car should come by fairly soon. So there we go. So that's quite good. So now we have a system that creates cars for us. We can actually expand this to allow multiple cars as well. So maybe let's do that now. So I'll create a node 2D, put that under CarManager, and call this targets. And I'll put the marker 2D under targets. And I'll duplicate this and move this up here. So that's good. And now I'll go to the CarManager, and instead of the marker 2D, I will hold Control and drag the targets. And now I have a targets variable. So yeah, marker 2D doesn't exist anymore. So now what I want to do is, I guess I'll create another function. This will be called create cars. And in here, we will do, write pass for now. So now basically the create car function will take in its own marker. I'll update the name here. And in create cars, we will do, we'll first get all the markers by doing targets.get children. Now we can do a for loop. So for marker in markers, I'll call it M in markers. So for each marker in markers, we want to call create car and give it that marker. And let's see, what does it not like? So too few arguments for the create car, expected at least one, but receive, okay, so this one now wants a marker as well. So this is not create cars, but this now becomes, this is not create car, but rather create cars. And identifier marker is not declared, okay, because I called it M, not marker. And here as well, this becomes create cars. So that's great. This should keep on working. And now if I hit play, then we will have cars coming down here, but also up here, because this is also where our marker is. And I'll, okay, interesting. We need to fix that later on, but the car spawning at least is working. All right, so that's it for the cars. And in the future, we'll have to do something similar for the turtles as well, but I think this video is already quite long. So I will end it here. Thank you very much. See you next time.